Hi friends! Most people know that alcohol and acetaminophen can damage the liver. But what if I told you millions of people who don't drink or take meds like acetaminophen are all developing a kind of liver damage, quietly and slowly through their food? And here's the part that almost nobody talks about. Most videos tell you to stop stuff, stop sugar, stop processed foods, stop alcohol, stop medications. But today I'm going to show you something completely different. What if the real solution is what you add? Because there is a compound hidden in everyday common vegetables that can literally turn your liver's detox pathways, reduce fat buildup, and protect your cells at a genetic level. It's called sulforaphane. And by the end of this video, I'm going to show you the top 10 foods rich in it, how it works at a biochemical level, and how to maximize it because most people destroy it when cooking, sort of. And I'll also show you how you can combine 3 of these delicious vegetables to make a wonderful homemade dish with the peanut butter that we made the other day. By the way, my name is Dr. Lu, and I've been an internal medicine and infectious disease physician for, I think, about 27 years. And during my lifetime, I've seen fatty liver explode, especially in the last 20 years. Unfortunately, what's happening in the liver is pretty much happening to all your other organs in the body. So really, what is fatty liver, which is now called metabolic dysfunction associated steatotic liver disease? That's just a mouthful, and it's really not just about fat. It's about the traffic inside the liver. Your liver is one of the busiest metabolic hubs in your body, constantly processing nutrients, hormones, toxins, cholesterol, and energy. Think of each pathway like a plane landing into LAX. Under normal conditions, everything is coordinated: arrivals, departure, timing, spacing. It looks pretty effortless. But now imagine what happens when traffic builds up. Too many incoming flights, we have delays, we have congestion, we have a disruption, whether it's a weather, TSA agents going on strike, closed runways, and then suddenly everything backs up. Planes can't land, others can't take off. The entire system starts to stall around the country. That's what happens in the liver when it gets fatty. Alcohol and excessive fat and sugar, especially fructose, and toxins, they can start accumulating. They create metabolic traffic. Pathways that are supposed to run smoothly begin to slow down. Fat builds up, detoxification gets impaired, and inflammation rises. And if that congestion continues long enough, it's not just a slowdown, it becomes a metabolic shutdown, and the rest of the body gets sick too. Your liver needs to process glucose, fructose, fatty acids, toxins, cholesterol, and when you overload it, especially with fructose and processed fats, you start creating de novo lipogenesis, which means your liver literally makes fat from sugar. And over time, fat stores, gets trapped in your liver, oxidative stress rises, inflammation increases, mitochondria get damaged, and the liver starts losing its ability to detox and regulate your metabolism. But here's the missing piece. Your liver isn't just there for storage. It's a defense system, and it has a built-in pathway to neutralize toxins, repair damage, burn fat, reduce inflammation. So what's the problem? Well, most people's liver detox system is either turned off or barely running. It's inefficient, and it can't keep up with the stress of your lives. And that's where sulforaphane comes in. So what is this sulforaphane? Well, it's a compound formed when you chop or chew certain vegetables, specifically cruciferous vegetables, like I have here. But here's the key. It's not naturally present in high amounts in all these vegetables. It forms when a compound called gluforaphinin meets an enzyme called myrosinase. So when you chop, chew, or crush the plant, that's when sulforaphane is created. And here's why it matters. NRF2 pathways. So sulforaphane activates something called NRF2. Think about NRF2 like your body's master antioxidant switch. When you turn it on, it increases glutathione, enhances detox enzymes, reduces inflammation, protects your mitochondria, and this is all critical for fatty liver because fatty liver equals oxidative stress, which with inflammation, with toxin overload, will overwhelm that liver. And sulforaphane directly targets all of them. However, not all plants have it. So which foods are high in sulforaphane? Gave you a hint. cruciferous vegetables. So let's go through them. Number one are broccoli sprouts. That is the most powerful one. It has 20 to 100 times more sulforaphane than mature broccoli, and that is the gold standard. But number two is mature broccoli. Broccoli has 20 to 50 grams of glucoraphanin per 100 grams, kind of varies widely. Number three is kale. Kale here has moderate levels, but is also rich in lutein and vitamin K. We have here Brussels sprouts. They're also high in sulforaphane. And we have red cabbage, which is high in sulforaphanes and anthocyanins. This is one of my favorites. Another one is cauliflower. Some people like this. It has a nicer, softer texture, but some people like their veggies crunchy, like bok choy. You can get this pretty crunchy and crispy if you don't overcook it. Sometimes people want a little peppery cruciferous vegetable, like arugula. This stuff is great for your salads and your sandwiches, a little spicy. It's high in myrosinase to activate that glucoraphanin. And then you can have radishes. That's even a bigger kick in spice. However, there's one critical mistake that causes people to lose sulforaphanes. It's cooking. Here's what most people get this wrong. They accidentally destroy sulforaphanes because heat kills myrosinase. And when you have no myrosinase, you have no sulforaphane. So even if you eat broccoli, you may not get the benefits of sulforaphane unless you modify your cooking method. So just a quick note before we continue. Now, I see messages and comments all the time from people who have watched my videos and didn't realize that they weren't subscribed. So if you find value in my videos, can you double check that you're subscribed and like my video? It's free and it really does help get my message to other people. And if you are subscribed, thank you very much for joining me to change your world. So let me show you now how to optimize sulforaphane. And this is one of the most important parts of my video. There are basically three strategies. Number one, you chop and you wait. You basically chop your vegetables, wait 30 to 45 minutes. This allows sulforaphane to form before you cook. Sulforaphane is heat stable, unlike myrosinase. But if you add mustard seeds or mustard seed powder after cooking, that can supply myrosinase. Don't add it before cooking. And make sure you don't overcook it. I would say about 3 to 4 minutes is max. Or just eat some raw vegetables, and then you get some myrosinase. So how much do you actually need? Studies suggest 20 to 40 milligrams of sulforaphane a day is what we need for measurable benefits. And this can come from 1 to 2 cups of broccoli or a small serving of broccoli sprouts. Now, really, consistency matters more than dose. So why not just take a supplement? Because there's a reason why it's prepackaged in nature. Now, I mentioned that the liver is like an LAX hub with all kinds of metabolic pathways. There's all kinds of players in these pathways. And these pathways require lots of different ingredients from your food, like the fiber, which is in all of these foods. That feeds your gut microbiome. That reduces liver fat. Veggies also have polyphenols, like in this red cabbage. That reduces inflammation and visceral fat. And these vegetables also have magnesium from the chlorophyll, potassium, which all improve insulin sensitivity. And guess what? Even veggies have protein to support your muscles and metabolism. But obviously, 1 or 2 cups of veggies a day is not going to meet your protein needs. You're going to have to eat as much as an elephant, right? To grow as big as an elephant. However, you can add a protein-rich food like beans. I prefer tofu. That's what I grew up with. Tofu contains all the essential amino acids in pretty good proportions, and it also has phytonutrients that can support your liver. So let me show you how to put this dish together, and I hope you enjoy it.
Hi, friends. I am so thrilled that you want to take charge of your health and take charge of your food. Now, I know nutrition can be complex, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm here to support you in this lifelong journey. So if you point your camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you. And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes, and then you can leave me your feedback on what I could do to help you in your journey. Okay, back to the video now.
So first, let's get my chopping board and the ingredients for the sauce. The sauce always makes the dish taste so much better. I have here peanut butter we made the other day, and some salt, because I know people won't eat the foods unless there's a little bit of salt. So I prefer organic miso salt because miso has been shown not to raise people's blood pressure. I also want to combine a little bit of vinegar because it gives it a nice kind of a little bit of an acid tone. And then sesame oil gives it a little bit of a fragrant flavor as well. And then last but not least, I forgot I had brought mustard powder here. So in case you overcook your veggies, you can sprinkle some ground mustard seed powder, and then that will give you some aracinase to get more sulforaphanes. So first thing I always like to do is I like to chop the food up before I do anything else so I'm well prepared. Whenever I make any sauces, I always work with aromatic ingredients. Onion is one of them, garlic is another, ginger is a third, right? So these are all anti-inflammatory, but most importantly, they make the food taste good. So that's why I include it for all my dishes. So let's cut this up. So this is how I cut my onions. I basically cut a little bit of this off so it doesn't roll. Otherwise, if you have your onion like this, you're gonna cut your finger off, right? Because it rolls so much. And then what I do is I slice thinly on the, like parallel to the ground or parallel to the board. And this way, it kind of comes out in nice, even, neat, like uniform sizes. And then I cut it perpendicular now. See, some of it is already coming apart. And then when you chop, it just comes nice and neat. Okay, let me get my pan. I forgot. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take some of that peanut butter we made the other day and put it in the middle of our pan so that we can put that aside. Then we're going to get some miso. This is organic miso. It's one of my favorite misos to use, partially because it doesn't raise blood pressure, right? For people who need that salty taste, I don't need it, but some people do, okay? So then we chopped up our onions. We're going to put it in our pan, put some onions in. We don't need to put all of them. I save it for later. I can use it for stir fries and other things with it. I also want garlic. I'm probably going to put 2 cloves of garlic in here. You don't want the, the outside skin. It's fiber, but it doesn't taste very good. The fragrant part is inside the garlic. That's the most important part. Try not to overcook the garlic because when you overcook it, then you lose the beneficial allicin that's in the garlic. I can't eat garlic raw. It's very irritating to my stomach. So I cook it a little bit, not too much, but enough to just take the heat off, right? Because that's kind of the most important thing is not to be uncomfortable after you eat. Okay, so this skin is a little stuck, but when I grate it, I'm sure it's going to come out. Okay, and then I have ginger here. So I have this micro grater. It grates very, very small so that this way the big chunks of ginger, some people don't like that taste, right? And then the garlic, it doesn't come out in big chunks either. I think it's okay if it does, but this definitely brings out more of the flavor. So I'm going to grate the garlic. I like the microplane grater for a couple reasons. Number one, it's harder to grate your own fingers because it's so small, right? The holes are so small as opposed to the big grater. I would not do this so close if I had a big grater, okay? And then if you have big chunks, you can still throw that in the end and make sure it all gets in there. This is very tasty. The more garlic and spices you put, the tastier this will be. You can throw in some sesame seeds in it as well. And then I'm going to take the ginger and I'm going to grate it. So this I'm probably going to grate, I don't know, maybe like 1/2 centimeter. Depends on how gingery you want it. Lots of people, they take off the skin. I don't take off the skin because I'm trying to increase more fibers. The ginger skin is edible. If you micro grate it, you can't really taste it, right? Unlike if you chop it up. If you chop it up, then it'll be really firm and hard. But if you grate it like this, you can't really taste it. My ginger and my garlic, okay? Next thing that I want to add is more spices. I have here a pepper. Now this pepper is great. You can cut it in the middle and chop it up. So let me show you. Okay, the seeds inside is really what's going to cause it to be spicy. If you don't want to be too spicy, get rid of the inside, the seeds. If you touch it, it can make your finger spicy. So that's why I'm trying not to touch it. But I think a few seeds are okay, but you may not want to put too many seeds in it, right? Depends on the level of heat you like. And then what I do is I chop it up, kind of dicing it up to put it in. Just pepper just smells spicier. The last pepper I had wasn't as spicy, so it was better. This one's spicier. The other thing I'm going to put in are onions. This is like my last onion. What you want to do is you want to cut off this head, okay? And the rest of it, you just chop up, right? And then after you put all these things are just my aromatics that I put in. You can pre-chop them since you're going to cook it. Doesn't need to be crispy. You can grate all this stuff, chop all this stuff and put in the freezer. And then when it's time to cook, it just comes out like this. So we're going to let this sit while I chop up the vegetables because I have to cook the vegetables. So I'm going to chop up first the cauliflower. And basically, I just basically chop up like florets, right? I kind of like mine into florets. To me, it looks pretty. Some people do maybe half florets. However you do it, it does need to be cooked for like 3 to 4 minutes. Not too long. If you cook it too long, it gets too soft, unless you like it soft, right? So really vegetables, you cook however you like. And I like my vegetables a little firmer. Some people like it soft. My husband likes his vegetables softer. Okay, so I have those florets. And then I'm going to chop up the broccoli. This is a broccoli. I do the same thing. What you want to do is you want to let it sit here for about 35, 40 minutes to make the sulforaphane because you have myrosinase. Myrosinase is necessary to convert the glucoraphanin into sulforaphane. So the other thing, are these bok choy. Now there's a trick to eating bok choy. You want to really cut them in half because if you don't cut them in half, it gets kind of dirty. The dirt goes in between these leaves, right? So you want to make sure you check and you get to wash it. Otherwise, there'll be a bunch of dirt. You'll be eating sand and grit. So I usually cut it in half to check to make sure. This one still has a little sand and grit, so I'm going to wash that again. And usually I cut it in half and wash it before I cut it any further. So I'm probably going to rinse all of these since I forgot to cut it in half. But I'm going to go back and rinse this just because I don't like to eat gritty, sandy pieces, right? That's kind of this one I chopped in half and rinsed well. So you just want to cut these leaves in half and then I steam all this in one pot. So let me show you. Okay, so this is a pot of tofu that I have and I put tofu in some water and basically I had boiled another vegetable in that. So what I'm going to do is, so I just cook it one time in one pot, is I'm going to put cauliflower in first. So I'm going to put these cauliflower in the pot because I think it's the hardiest vegetable. Then I'm going to put my broccoli. And then on the very top, I'm going to steam the bok choy. Then I'm just going to put a lid. I'm going to let this boil for about 4 minutes. And then I'll be back to show you how to make the sauce while this is boiling. Okay, so let's fix our sauce. By the way, this is a tofu package that I use. It's organic soft tofu. It has like a yogurt-like texture, so it's pretty soft. It has no taste, and it's one of my favorite tofus to use for all different kinds of dishes and desserts. Okay, so in this pan, this is our saucepan. I don't like to use a lot of oil, but oil kind of binds and emulsifies all these ingredients. So what I usually do first is I will put a little bit, probably like a tablespoon of olive oil or avocado oil or canola oil, your favorite oil. And then you can mix it all around in heat, okay? I put this on a little bit of a low heat, but it's going to burn because it has, remember, the peanut butter. So that's why I don't like to put it on too much heat, because then it definitely will burn and it's carcinogenic when you burn stuff. So I'll put some water in it. This is about 1/4 of a cup, maybe half, 1/4 to a third to half a cup. And when you put this on heat, it'll all start to dissolve and emulsify together. And the other thing that I like to put in is roasted sesame. Now, a lot of times, and I probably will sprinkle in probably that was probably 1 or 2 tablespoons. Okay. You can put more or less. The other thing I like to do is I like to finish it off with a little sesame oil. And then you need a little bit of an acid to bind this whole thing. So I put in just like maybe 1 or 2, I'll pour it in here. It's probably more like 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar to give it a little punch. Okay. I don't know how to describe it. Without the vinegar, there's not this contrast. The onions make this sauce sweet, so you don't need to add any more sugar. And then at the very end, I add a little bit of sesame oil, probably a teaspoon or so, very little, just drizzling it. So let me cook this up. And when this is done, my tofu will be done. This will probably take like 3 or 4 minutes to emulsify together, and then we'll assemble it. Okay, literally that took me less than a few minutes or 5 minutes to cook this sauce and get that ready. So after boiling, it's like 5 minutes. So let me first get to the tofu, because I want to take care of that first. So I'm going to just plate my bok choy, and you'll see how beautiful it is. Now you could put this in cold water to really solidify the color, but that's just a lot of work for me. So I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to plate this because I'm kind of hungry. And then here's the broccoli. I didn't want it too close to the water, because then it won't retain its green color. So if I put like cauliflower in between, I think that works so much better. Look how beautiful this broccoli is. And then now I have the cauliflower. Now the cauliflower, because it's white, doesn't really change color when you overcook it. I have that closest to the water, so that this way, if I overcook it, boils a little bit too long, then it doesn't affect the chlorophyll in the broccoli, because I want to maintain that color. I just think the green is so pretty, so I don't want to lose that green color. And then this way, when the vegetable sweats, the vegetable juice goes into my tofu, so I get more of its nutrients as opposed to just losing it in water. So that's why I'm cooking everything together. And then now you have a delicious vegetable broth in the very end. All right, so I have some stems that I cut up in here that I'm not going to take out and plate, because I'm just going to let it, season the water. I may cook this a little bit more. But I do have the tofu. Now I'm going to scoop the tofu out and put it into the sauce. And tofu is just a big chunk. It's okay that it breaks apart. I have 2 big chunks, so I didn't chop up this tofu at all. That's a nice thing about soft tofu. When you pick it up, it just falls apart. And now I'm going to mix it in here with the sauce, so that the sauce flavors the tofu as if I stir-fried it, but I really didn't. I steamed it, right? You can add more sesame or sesame oil. So I'm going to add a little bit of sesame oil. Not too much. Okay. And then I'm going to stir it up some more. So now this is flavored. And then I'm going to show you how to plate it. This is how I like to plate my food. So these are vegetables here. This, I made some quinoa with oat bran. I basically don't like to make rice. I think I told you guys, rice has a lot of arsenic. Quinoa has definitely more amino acids than white rice. And then oat bran has even more protein. So the two of them together makes this a powerful, punchy, high fiber, high protein grain. I'm going to put some bok choy. After the bok choy, I'm going to put some cauliflower. Just kind of arrange it. Whatever pattern you guys like to arrange it, right? And then put some broccoli. You can spread it in between. or however you guys like to arrange your broccoli. I like to use chopsticks because it allows me to be more precise in how I put things. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour that tofu over this plate. Basically, that's it, right? So here we go. And at the end of the plate, I'm going to drizzle garnish it with some peanuts, right? So the peanut sauce that we did yesterday, the peanut butter that we made the last video, we used that, made another sauce, added some tofu, some other spices, boiled some vegetables, made some quinoa, and there you go. You have a delicious cruciferous meal to help your liver detox. But of course, this probably isn't going to be enough to fill your tummy and work to reverse fatty liver unless you remove the toxins. So if you want to learn more about that, watch the next video.